In a studio that's in a basement comes the epic story of how two friends changed the future of the movie podcast game forever. The reviews are in. Boys Life magazine gives the High Sci podcast 4.5 acorns. The Daily Bugle says, these guys are super legit. And Pope Francis declares the podcast as life-affirming. From the kid who tried to get smart with David Spade and got fucking old.
You're still out. You're still bad.
And the guy who can name all four Baldwin brothers.
Alec, William, Daniel, and the baby boy, Stephen.
Live from the studio of his parents' basement. The Have You Seen It podcast.
Welcome back to the Have You Seen It podcast. My name is Mason Knight. Sitting across from me is the one and only Cash Kraus. Cash, how you doing?
Doing good. As always, excited to talk about our film that we are talking about
Yeah.
today.
It's our Throwback Theater.
Of course, it's our Throwback Theater. We're throwing it way back to 1987.
And what a year that was. I have no
Do you have
recollection myself.
anything to back up that statement?
I don't. I have zero.
Yeah, we were not there.
No, we weren't. We
It was
were not.
We were a few
in
years off.
existence.
We were a few years off. We were just
7 or 8.
Just a twinkle in our parents' eyes.
I guess so.
They were just
My father would have been graduating high school that year.
Yeah, I think my parents would have too, yeah. But, we are talking about the quintessential Thanksgiving movie,
Yes,
in my
we are.
opinion. Kind of an untapped market, Thanksgiving films.
Yeah, they are, surprisingly. And a lot of Christmas films.
Of course.
A lot of Halloween films.
Not a lot
too
of
many
Thanksgiving films. But this is one I go back and watch every single year because it always gets me in the mood. But we are reviewing / recapping Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, the classic comedy done by legendary director John Hughes, starring legendary actors John Candy and fantastic Steve Martin.
Yes.
What is your history with Planes, Trains? Have you seen it before?
Not in its entirety.
Oh,
no.
man,
I
I'm
would
glad.
I would see it on TV, obviously, like glimpses of it with John Candy, but never watched the whole thing from start to finish. So this was my first time seeing this film in its entirety.
This is a film, when you talk about trimming a fat from a film, this is a film in my mind that has no fat on it. It is just, there's not a scene or line of dialogue that is not just a fucking banger.
Yeah.
They're all great. I love this fucking film, but it's a great kind of wholesome comedy. Although there is 18 F words in a 1-minute section of this film.
You know what's so funny? Is I watched, because I was too cheap to rent this on Amazon, I went to the on-demand on AMC and watched it, and immediately I was like, okay, that's, because they kept calling him a jerk over and over. He's like, you're a jerk, jerk.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what is going on here?
Yes.
Why does he keep saying jerk? And I was like, oh, this is edited for TV.
Oh, no.
So unfortunately, I did get the full film. It wasn't cut down.
Yes.
But all the curse words were taken out.
Well, that's the only time they say the F word, is that minute-long segment where the F word is said 18 minutes. And interesting enough, this film could have easily been a PG-13 or even a PG film.
PG film, yeah.
But because of that, they had to make it rated R.
Wow.
And John Hughes, who's such an awesome director, he only directed 7 films before his untimely death. But his 7 films that he directed, every single one, or 6 of 7, are just fucking classics. So his first film was 16 Candles, which is very famous.
Yep.
His next film after that, directed, was Breakfast Club.
Oh, God, I love it.
Yeah, after that,
Iconic.
he did Weird Science, which is fucking fantastic. Then he did Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Yeah.
After that, he did Planes, Trains, and Automobiles that we're talking about today. And then he did Uncle Buck, which is just as fucking good as Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Someday we'll have to go back and do Uncle Buck because it is so good. Yep. Another John Candy film. But then it took him a while. His last film was Curly Sue, but he only did 7 films. That's insane. But 6 out of 7 are just so fucking iconic. Breakfast Club, Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Uncle Buck was awesome.
Uncle Buck
as a
is
kid,
phenomenal.
at least, it was yeah.
As an adult, trust me, it holds up. anything with John Candy. Can we talk about him for a second? He is a fucking angel.
You know, him and Chris Farley are the two that, for me, like, it's just so sad that, you know, he died at 43 of a heart attack.
Yeah.
And it's just like, how many more amazing years could we have had with John Candy had he had still been around?
Well, sad enough, just a few weeks ago was his 70th birthday, and in Toronto, they have John Candy Day.
They do.
Because Canadians don't have much
to celebrate.
And wayward celebrity. Alex Trebek, though.
Yeah.
They're going to have to make an Alex Trebek
They're going to
Day.
have to, absolutely. And a street needs to be named after him.
I'm sure there's probably large buildings named after him. You don't have to do anything in Canada to get a street named after you.
Probably not too much.
Exist. But yeah, John Candy, man, gone too soon. But it crushed John Hughes. John Candy died in 1994. And John Hughes basically retired in 94. Never did another film. Kind of became a recluse. There's documentaries that came out in like 96 trying to search for him because no one even knew where he was. And he was on top of the world.
Yeah, he passed away in 2009 too, at the young age of only 59 years old. Didn't even make it to his 60s.
Yeah, but he did. He was very fucking hurt. Him and Candy were very, very close. And you have to think if John Candy died, we would have gotten so many more John Hughes films.
Oh, yeah. So many more John Hughes films and so many more John Candy films.
Yeah.
Hilarious movies, you know.
But, it's devastating. But, yeah, it's crazy. It just blows my mind. He's one of those rare directors that ended it all on the top of his career.
Yeah.
You know, he was very adamant about his style and everything. And he was very adamant about keeping in the 18 F words, which I fucking love.
Right.
I love that he would do that.
99.9% of directors, if you have a studio coming to you and being like, hey, we got to have this film PG. We got to have this film PG-13. You got to cut those scenes out.
Yeah.
Majority of them are going to cut that to appease, the high ups.
Absolutely. Not John Hughes. No. And he is, this just goes to how great of a filmmaker he was. He wrote this script in 3 days. It was a 140-page script. Very long for a comedy script.
Yeah, because the final cut is what, 97 minutes?
The final cut, but there is a 3-hour version out there.
I'm going to pass.
Yeah. Oh, I'd fucking watch it in a heartbeat.
You'd watch 3 hours of this.
Oh, my God. I'd watch.
Now, you were telling me.
Top dollar. I'd pay $100.
There's no fluff in the original film. You don't think there wouldn't be stuff you could take out a 3-hour film?
Well, it won't be as good as this one, probably.
Right.
But no, I guarantee there's some stuff that he had, because he strangely enough, for this film, filmed 600,000 feet of film. Mm-hmm. That's twice the standard that they give you when you're filming a film. He filmed and you'd think this was fucking Titanic or something. Yeah.
It's
a comedy film. It really
meters.
doesn't have a plot. It's just a buddy film about two guys making their way from New York to Chicago to get home in time for Thanksgiving.
That's it.
There's no twist. It's insane to me that he filmed so much.
Yeah, and what I will say on that, as far as like the 3-hour version, if there ever would be one, is I'm sure there are so many hilarious improvisational scenes between these two.
Oh, for sure.
That would go down as just
and
some
that's
of the funniest moments.
John Hughes staple. He would constantly throw in things that would make his actors have to improvise. Mm-hmm. So he would write in. So he wrote the script in 3 days. But he's and I respect the hell out of this, because he wrote it in 3 days, but he did 21 rewrites. So he was part of the class of, if you have an idea, just get it out on paper.
Right, yep.
Just write it, whatever you can, write it, no matter what, and then go back. Because he did 21 rewrites. But, one scene in particular that I always think of, but that he made the actor improvise, was the scene when they're first getting picked up at the train station by Dell's friend, who's like a hillbilly, and his wife who's pregnant, and he yells at her to get out and get the bags.
And she's like, she's strong. Yeah. She can do it.
Her last kid came out sideways. She didn't even cry. And they're like, no, it's fine. Like, what do you mean? And Mary's getting mad at her. Mm-hmm. But John Hughes told that guy to spit in his hand, and that wasn't a script. And fucking Steve Martin is a notorious
germaphobe.
Does not like germs. So that's all a realistic reaction when he spits, and you can see Steve Martin. Yeah. He his body tenses up. But he did a ton of scenes like that. But I love that scene though, when he's yelling at his wife. What if she's 8 months pregnant? And he has that the whole time. John Candy's lugging around this giant
trunk. Yeah, just in like what's inside the trunk is hilarious. It's like a pillow.
Yeah.
It's like what,
Well,
so
it's a pillow, and it's all his fucking shower curtain rings.
Yes,
because
that's
he's
right.
a well-known shower curtain in the 80s. In the 80s,
how
you could sell anything.
How do you make a living doing that?
They didn't have internet. You couldn't just go buy your shirt.
It's true.
You had a guy had to come to you, and you had to buy him from him.
Strange times. That's so wild.
It is strange times, but it adds to the story element because it's a ridiculous job that he's going from New York to Chicago to sell shower curtains. But yeah, there's so many little good scenes like this that I fucking love. Another really good one and classic one is when is the car scene. When they're in the car and they're driving backwards on the road or whatever, and they're
like, "Turn around!" Those people are just
you're going the wrong way.
Like, how the hell would they know where we're going?
How do they know which way we're going? So, I think about that every time I get into a car. How the hell you're going the wrong? How the hell are they? They're probably drunk.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Thank you. Yeah, and then they go through the
two semis that, of course, are driving right next to each other.
Because this film is. It's very wacky.
It is
wacky, yes. But it can turn and get very serious at times and get very fucking dramatic.
Yeah.
But that scene when they're in the car and they go through the semis, and he's screaming, and John Candy's the devil. He's like, ha ha ha. He's laughing. It's so funny.
Well, then he goes,
he's freaking out. Yeah.
He's smoking as Steve Martin's sleeping, right? And then he goes. Flicks it out of the window,
funny,
but then it goes to the back seat, and then his car engulfs in flames, and then he finds out that he used his credit card. Yes. He's just like, oh my God. And it's so funny, too.
So you're never going to get your deposit back, and they're laughing. He's like, yeah. It's fucking fantastic.
John Candy's character is hilarious in this because, like, he's a good guy. He's trying. But every single time Steve Martin's character is around this guy, it's just chaos.
Yeah.
It's just always something's going down.
But what I love about the Del Griffith character, John Candy's character, is he's just there's so much well-intention behind him. Like, he may not always do the same thing, but no matter what, it always works out for him because he's just a nice guy. Yep. And nothing works out for Steve Martin because he's an asshole.
Yeah, Neil is miserable.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And, like, this trip would have been so much harder had John Candy not been there, in the first place. He would have never gotten a car. He would never gotten on that train. Because John Candy, he's friends everywhere. Yeah. Everywhere he goes, he knows someone.
Well, and that's the thing too. It's a lot of this is perspective and how you deal with life. Neil essentially had everything, whereas Del had nothing.
That's exactly it.
He was happy, and Neil was miserable.
Just watching this film, you can look at it as like this, again, just this buddy kind of road trip film, but it is much, much larger than that. Like you just said, there's something about it you can tell there's something more going on behind the scenes. And it is a story all about how you just look at life. Yeah. You can look at it one way and it'll be very, very difficult for you. But then you can look at it this other way and things just happen to kind of go your way. And that's what's so great about it. But John Candy, his life isn't perfect, His wife fucking died. Yeah. But he still somehow manages to keep this uppity kind of attitude about everything.
And I loved that reveal.
Very sad. This film is very sad.
It's actually super sad. But I love the way they sprinkled it in to where it wasn't too on the nose. Now, I did have questions, obviously, with the frame and him bringing a picture of his wife.
Well, they make it so you kind of had to guess, yeah.
But I love the hotel scene, where he's like, well, my wife loves, when they're arguing back and forth.
Well, that's one of the best dialogue ever. Yeah.
Yeah. He's like, I'm miserable.
That's right at the
start.
You're
an idiot, yada, yada, yada. And he's like, you know what? Well, I like me and my wife likes me.
That's a very, very famous dialogue that's been satired a bunch. Family Guy does a joke about that. But yeah, he goes, I'm an easy target. Go ahead. And he does this big, long spiel. And then right after that, Steve Martin's like,
gets back in bed with him.
And then we have the classic pillows joke. He's
so
like,
funny.
He's like, what's your hand between two pillows? Those aren't pillows. His hand between his ass.
And then it's like a 19, like, oh my God.
It's so funny. But just how gross.
He's like, oh, the Bears, man. The Bears got a great, they got a hell of a team.
Hell of a team this year.
Hell of a team this year.
They had to like overcompensate the manliness. Yeah, in the bathroom, remember he goes in the bathroom for like 5 minutes, comes out, and it's there's water, it's pouring out of the sink. He's used every single towel.
Of course.
And
And the ground's all
he's got to
gross
use
and
like
wet.
the little tiny towel just to dry off. Yeah, it's fucking
Well, and
disgusting.
then he goes to like rinse his face off, and it's the guy's socks in the
he's, like,
sink.
throwing
And then
up.
He dries his face off, and it's his
No, it's his
underwear.
underwear, yeah.
It's his whitey tighties. Classic.
Oh,
I love on the airplane too when he's and there's always someone like that on an airplane.
Yeah.
But it's like, oh, feels so great. He takes
Oh,
his shoes
my
off.
dogs. I say that
My
every
dogs.
time. I think my dogs are barking. And then he takes his socks off.
Yeah.
And he goes, woo. He's like yelling at.
There's
Yeah.
always someone like that on an
Oh,
airplane too.
absolutely. And I love the book he's reading, Canadian Mounted. It's like some erotica. And he's reading it.
Yeah.
Canadian Mounted. That's the name. It's so good. But yeah.
I always go
So many
back
good
to it. It
scenes.
just fucking sucks. It sucks John Candy died
I know.
so young, man.
It's
I would have
horrible, yeah.
loved to see him for another 20
And he
30
didn't
years.
do drugs. He smoked a ton.
Yeah, he
and
did
drank
smoke.
some, but he didn't do drugs like Chris Farley or anything like that, or John Belushi. He was just, that's one that I'm sure when it happened fucking hurt people.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, just because no one really saw it, although he was obviously very heavy.
Overweight, yeah.
Yeah. But just goes to show you how dangerous that can be, you know, being overweight. Yeah, died way too fucking young and ruined, I mean, didn't ruin, but really hurt John Hughes' career. I mean, he just kind of folded up after that.
Understandably, too. That's difficult.
Oh,
Let's
yeah.
talk about the fun cameos in this film. One of them being Kevin Bacon.
Kevin
as
Bacon,
the
who
taxi
was
racer.
who was
Yeah.
in another John Hughes film right after this, or right during this that came out before this. But yeah, it's a really small cameo from a very famous
actor. Well, how
at that
about
point.
how about Ben Stein too, as the
Oh, Ben-
Wichita airport representative?
Ben Stein used to be in a ton of fucking
ton
shit,
of
and he would
things.
always just have cameos like that. Now he's like a Fox.
I'm here.
Now he's like a Fox News political.
Is he really?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
Are you fucking?
He's a
That's news
staunch conservative. Yeah.
He's a Fox News guy.
He's like a Fox News. What are they called? Like talking heads or something like that?
That is hilarious. I
Yeah,
have no idea.
he's a hardcore Republican.
Oh, you're right. He is on Fox
I
News.
told you. It's the most boring fucking. You hear him talking, you immediately want to fall asleep.
That's fucking
Yeah.
funny.
But yeah, he was in Ferris Bueller's Day Off too.
Yep.
Bueller. He's never had he only does cameos.
Oh, and Dylan Baker too.
Yeah,
Yeah, Dylan Baker's in this. Which man,
he's
plays
small role.
Yeah, but the Amazon Prime show Hunters.
Oh yeah.
He plays the,
we like
the
that
villain
a lot.
Nazi, and he does a phenomenal
Yeah,
job in that.
Dylan Baker's the guy with the. He's the guy with the wife.
Yes, yeah,
He's so young in this.
he is super.
That's
young.
before he only started playing like creepos. Now he plays.
He does a very good villain.
Well, he's so like non-descriptive and like you never see him coming.
Yeah.
He plays a really good dad / serial killer.
Yeah, he does.
But yeah, Dylan Baker, I forgot.
Yeah,
Get your ass out here. Love that. Yeah. A lot
Yeah,
of
the
cameos.
cameos are great in this.
Oh yeah. But to go back, this is a film that I just don't think has like any every scene is just so good, you know. I love the scene when it's after the car, when he lights up the car and it's fucking goes on fire or whatever, and they're still driving
They're
it.
still driving it, and the cop pulls him over.
You wouldn't believe it. Radio works like a bell.
So, do you know how fast you were going? He goes,
The
well,
funny thing about that.
speedometer is melted. Everything is melted, but the radio works just fine.
Radio works clear as day. He's like, I can't let you drive this.
I just, in good faith, I just can't let you do it.
So funny. But they go to the hotel and they don't have any money or anything like
Nothing.
that.
He's
And
pawning off his watch at this
yes,
point.
Steve Martin's character is very rich. You know, he's like an advertisement guy or something. So he has a very fancy watch, but then John Candy has to try to sell his Casio. And I love how he does like the model thing. Ooh.
Like this?
And then he's got to go sleep out in his fucking car.
It's rough.
Poor John Candy. But that's a very good scene because that's a scene once they kind of get back into it. You know, they start drinking that scene. It's an awesome scene. Any scene with John Candy now at this point just seems like, oh, it's so good. It's so good. Like, you just want him back so bad.
Well, in that scene, too, when they're drinking, that's a pivotal moment in the film that you don't realize until the flashback. When, you know, Steve Martin, Neil, starts talking about,
he's like, at least we got our wives.
Yeah, at least we got our wives at the end of the day. You know, everyone else can hate us. We can be miserable, but at least we got someone to go home to that we love.
And John Candy's got to just be like, Yeah. Yeah. He's like, yeah, that we do.
You do.
It's so sad.
So sad.
It's so sad.
And then when Neil has that realization on the subway, he turns around and he sees, Dell sitting there. And he's like, what are you doing here, Dell?
Yeah.
Because he knows.
It's an awesome scene. It's such a good scene.
The best way.
It's so sad. Because the whole time you just want these guys to be best friends.
Yeah. And there's a lot of times in films where I hate this, it's a happy ending, but not this one. This is like the perfect ending for a film, especially like this.
Well, it's very just so John Hughes-esque to have that last 5 minutes of recollection and these characters
self-reflection.
Yeah, it happens in Ferris Bueller's Day Off when they finally realize, that his friend has an abusive relationship with his dad and stuff. And it happens at the end of Breakfast Club, when they all start to realize that they're all fucked up. And it always happens, that last moment of oh, fuck. And then it's got a great score to go along with it. That scene is great. But it's just shot so well that you're not used to seeing a comedy film shot so well, and have so many dramatic elements to it as well. Usually comedies are one thing, comedies. Yeah. They don't have these other things. But I always go back to that very last scene when he goes and finally sees his wife. It's it's almost surreal.
Yeah,
how it's shot. Yeah,
too.
it's so and it's only been this 4 days, and but it's almost he went on this, she somehow knows that he went on this journey, and it's and his wife, she's so strangely beautiful. And it's she's almost like an angel. It's I don't know.
And I love how he opens the door and the whole family, grandpa, grandma,
they're all
kids, they're all right in front of the door. None of them are sitting down.
No, but they're so happy that he's home. Exactly. And it's just a great fucking family comedy and family film because it makes you kind of appreciate, those small things. But he just need to get home. That's all he need to do is get home for his family.
Did you know there's a remake for this too, right?
Oh my God, I'd never see it.
Starring Will Smith and Kevin Hart.
I'd never see it. Who's playing the Del Griffin character in that?
I don't know.
I can't even imagine.
I would assume Kevin Hart would be.
That's
Will Smith would probably be playing the Neil.
I guess so.
Mm-hmm.
Not good. Not good.
I don't know why they're remaking this.
I fucking hate it.
But I'll check it out. Why not?
I won't. I will not. That's a movie I will be passionately against.
Just boycott it?
Boycott it for sure. You're not going to do better than this. This really is one of my favorite comedies of all time. I mean, it's top 10 for me.
Well, John Hughes is not going to be directing that.
Yeah, unfortunately.
It's no longer with us.
It's just crazy that he died in 2009. Not that long, but he stopped doing film for so long that you kind of forget about him. But he has produced some fucking classic. He produced the Home Alone films that really feel like John Hughes films. You feel that he had a heavy role in those films because they really feel John Hughes inspired. It's directed by Christopher Columbus, but he produced it. Chris Columbus.
I know, it's just funny, Christopher Columbus.
Yeah.
Knowing you're going to name your son Chris Columbus, come on.
Well, his name is Christopher, but everyone has to call him Chris.
Yeah, Chris.
Because, you wouldn't want to think that the guy from 1492 was directing Home Alone. So stupid. I got to change my name. They might get me mixed up.
I don't want to be known as that awful human being in
I don't want to get
1492.
So dumb. But, Chris Columbus. He's the one that directs Home Alone. But, yeah, he produced so many films that the vacation, Christmas Vacation films, National Lampoon, he did all those, produced them.
For a 1987 film, what a huge budget this was at $30 million.
Yeah, it really. Yeah.
Box office, though, turnaround made
49.5. It holds up. This film almost feels like it was shot in the late 90s. I mean, it really holds up. It does not seem like a film shot in 1987 at all. It's very strange to me that's the date, but it feels like a film shot in the late 90s. It looks, but that's got to do with the cinematography and shit like that. That holds up when you shoot a film and you're just, you shoot a film like you want to make it a good film. You don't want to make a good comedy. You don't want to make a good drama. You just want to make a good film. Yeah. And that's what fucking John Hughes did. I know when Steve Martin first got the script, it was 140 pages, and he went to John Hughes and he's like, "So what parts are you going to cut out?" And John Hughes was like, "Oh, God. Oh,
I don't cut out anything.
Shit out. Yeah, you're in the wrong fucking film if you think you're going to cut anything out of this." So Steve Martin. But Steve Martin said the scenes that really got him attached to it was the scene where he's adjusting the chair in the car.
Yeah.
He's like, "I can't get comfortable. I got a bad back." And then he breaks the chair.
Yep.
He said that scene was one of the scenes that that really got him into it, which is a great fucking scene. It is. Yeah, they're all great. I love the scene in the bus when they sing the Flintstones. Just very wholesome. When Steve Martin tries to sing and he seems like some classical 1900s.
And everyone just looks back at him in the bus like, what the
And the classic couple where they're just damn near full penetration.
Oh.
Remember at the end they're
making
smoking
out
cigarettes? Like
yeah.
they just release, they just climax. It's and John Candy, he's like, take a look at this.
Yeah. And then
he's
they
like,
look.
well, they're just watching.
Yeah. And then
so
they look
creepy.
up at him and he's like, oh, my bad.
It's so creepy, but yeah, that's they do a great portrayal of a Greyhound bus.
Yeah. Yeah, your average run-of-the-mill Greyhound bus.
It's so bad.
And they did that back in 86, 87.
Yeah, that's
too.
when the Greyhound was on top of the world.
Yes, it was.
But funny enough, they couldn't use any actual transportation companies for this film because they're all make them look like shit.
Yeah.
So they had to make up every single company for this.
That's too bad.
Yeah, so they couldn't because no company wanted to look bad.
Yeah,
so they had to
of
make up the train company. It's like a combination between Conrail and Amtrak. It's called Contract. And remember the train, it's so funny that the train breaks down. And they're like, whoa, there's a station about 2 miles away.
Just lug your shit.
And you have to go through it's like farmland.
Yeah.
So
it's like
not
uneven
straight.
ground. People are rolling ankles and falling over.
It's those. This film has just those real low moments. I'm not saying low that it's bad, but those low where everything's real despair.
Oh yeah.
And then the really up because that moment is so great when he sees. Because remember Dale was all excited that they were going to sit next to each other on the train, and then Steve Martin's character has to pretend that they didn't have seats together.
Yep.
And then after the train breaks down, you knew something was going to bad happen because every time Steve Martin's fucking screws Dale over, something bad happens.
Right.
So the train
Karma.
breaks down. Exactly. But that scene's so nice when he sees Dale kind of lugging the big fucking, his crate around, and then he kind of goes and helps him out. Those scenes are just, they're magical.
They are.
They're really great. But again, the whole time you just want them to be best buds.
Yeah.
Even though John Candy's character, it's not like he's the good guy of the film. He definitely has weak moments for sure. He can be very
annoying,
and he knows that. It's
does.
such a good scene when he's sitting in the car when the snow's coming down, and he's sitting in the car. And he's like, "Oh, Dell, you did it again. You're big." It's such a beautiful
big
scene.
blabbering mouth.
Yeah, you're. You just happen to open up your mouth, and the music is very like melancholy and sad when it's happening. And Steve Martin is just like in the background looking at the window, and it's like 4 feet of snow.
I saw him. He's just sitting there.
He would die.
Yo, he would die.
He was definitely going to die that night. But
he was like, I guess you can come in.
yeah,
It's like, okay.
they get that hotel owner back when they're leaving the next day. They back up through the front of the hotel in the car, and they just destroy drive.
Get out of here.
It's so good. It's just a great film.
It is a fun film.
It holds
Absolutely.
up. I mean, it's so good.
It's one of those
I watch
films
it
too.
every
I
year.
mean, maybe except the F words, but you could watch this, at a Thanksgiving dinner, or have people over and watch this for Thanksgiving. It's a good wholesome film.
I think the F word should not. It's the fucking word, people.
I know.
Okay,
I know.
there's New Zealand. When this came out, in New Zealand, it was PG-13, or they did a PG, I think, because of or they just the F words they didn't care. They still rated it PG-13. Yeah,
Wow.
I love New Zealand for that. I wonder if they can do
New
that.
New Zealand's dope.
New Zealand is dope.
I would love to visit.
Yeah.
I'd love to go
Well,
to
you can't.
Hobbiton.
You can't.
Well,
right
I can't now.
They're
Probably
not,
never.
Not letting
Probably never
Americans
again. They'll
anywhere.
never
We
let
can't
Americans
leave,
in.
We can't even leave the country right now. But yeah, they did it PG, which this film should have been. I think it should have been PG-13, but those strict fucking guidelines that they have to all
Abide by.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm glad he stuck to his guns though and kept it in because that is such a good scene when he just fucking blows that lady up. And then at the very end, she goes, I can't remember what she says, but at the very end, she goes, I don't give a fuck. And then the scene is right there. Interesting enough, that scene is exactly 60 minutes long. From the start to her ending it, it's exactly 60 minutes long, and the F word said for 18 times.
Wow.
Yeah. Which might be the most ever for just a 60-minute period.
Right.
18 F words? I can't imagine
60
anything else.
seconds.
Yeah, 60 seconds, not 60 minutes.
You said that 3 different times. So
Yeah.
I was like, I gotta tell you. 60 minutes. Wow.
60 seconds. So it's exactly 60 seconds long, yeah.
All right, you got anything else on this?
I don't have anything else.
All righty. Well, that is our review for Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. If you guys like what you're seeing here and you're watching on YouTube, please be sure to like this video, comment below, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell notification as we drop videos here every single day. If you want to find our podcast in audio format, you can find that on Spotify, iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play, and Stitcher. Our social media pages, Have You Seen It podcast. Go check out our merch store as well, too. You can find the link in the description below. Thank you so much for watching and listening. My name is Mason Knight. That is Cash Krause. And until next time.
Bye.